It's Saturday, the 23rd, 2023, and we are 2 days from Christmas for those who celebrate. And if you do celebrate, then early Merry Christmas to you guys. My holiday was 2 days ago, celebrating the solstice, celebrating the arrival of more light, which actually written about extensively through the years. Um, every time it draws near, both summer and winter solstice, I usually write something for the few days of its surrounding. It's a meaningful day for me for many reasons, not just the historical context of the sacredness of these occasions, um, and not just the spiritual connotations, but the physical arrival of more light from every day thereafter uh, means quite a bit to me, as it does for many people, even if they maybe only realize it on a subtle level. Um, that those who suffer from seasonal depression will begin to get some relief, a little bit each day, but we get there. Um, I can't rightly say, sorry, um, that I have seasonal depression. I have suffered through depression lightly in comparison to some whom I know who are completely devastated at times through depression. Um, I have not been devastated. It's just been a weight, a manageable weight that has been a companion through decades and decades. At a certain point, um, you start sensing, you start sensing its arrival. You start sensing how difficult this, for however long it might be, is going to last. Um, Never becomes a friend, but it becomes an expected guest. If that makes sense. They always go back and think of Rumi's The Guest House. I've read past couple days. I've read Rumi's Love Dogs. Fantastic poem. One of my favorites. Although yesterday or the day before, I read on Instagram his Garden of the Mystics, where he talks of the I, he, she, they, them. That these are not distinctions made in the Garden of the Mystics, which just means we don't distinguish the differences. Doesn't mean we don't celebrate our uniqueness. It means that we don't notice any longer the things that appear to separate us in essence. They no longer exist. Am I personally there yet? I am not. Um, I notice differences, but it's lighter. So much in my life now is lighter. Starting with that depression that we were just talking about, um, the differences, opinions, my own and others, most particularly my own. That's so important. When our own opinion begins to lighten up, when we don't take it quite so seriously, when every single thing in our life is based upon our opinion and our beliefs. And all an opinion is a heavily invested belief that we hold so strongly, we are willing to commit violence to uphold it. Can you imagine that? An opinion, a belief, is nothing more than a thought. And thoughts have to come and go to have any existence whatsoever. They don't stay constant. We're always thinking fluid. To bring back a belief or a feeling or whatever, we need to reinvest in those thoughts in order to invoke that belief and that opinion all over again, fresh, brand new. It wasn't there before. We think it is, we believe it is. It's another belief, it's another thought. Who would you be? I go back to that quite often too. Brian Cady, the author, the um, self awakened author, Brian Cady. who offers her unique means of self-inquiry, where we simply ask ourselves, is this true? Anything, but most especially those heavily invested beliefs and opinions. Is it true? And of course, we generally say yes because we think it's true, but can you absolutely know for certain that it's true? Some people still might say yes. Doesn't make it so. And then she'll have you ask, who would you be without that thought? How would you act? Pretty important thought. Pretty important. Let's bring that up while we're here. No reason not to. We got Google at the fingertips. Brian Katie. 4 questions. Comes right up because I've looked this up often during our talks. So you hold any thought, any belief, most especially if you want to bring a little bit of peace into your life, and simply ask, is this true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Can you absolutely know for certain that it's true? I left one out earlier. How do you react when you believe that thought? That's so big, because how do we react when we believe those thoughts? Think of anything from racism to going to war to one city gang fighting another city gang to addiction to whatever. All of it based on thoughts. All of it based on beliefs. And how do we react when we believe that thought? How do we react when we believe we're under threat? Important questions to ask ourselves. I'm not giving any answers. I do my own self-inquiry. We all have to, sooner or later. Maybe not. Some people go through their entire lives without asking themselves a single question, without ever asking of their opinion, is this true? Isn't that absolutely amazing? Some people go through their entire life holding thoughts and opinions and beliefs and never once questioning them. My father, who I mentioned quite often, was came back from the Navy, and he was in a waiting room. I think it was for a medical appointment. I don't remember rightly. And he did a political magazine quiz, and he realized he did not really, truly belong to the party that he thought he did. So he switched. He was surprised. All his life, he was this one thing. And when he found himself taking this poll, asking himself some questions, he realized, when he was truthful with himself, he wasn't that person he believed he was the entire time. He belonged to a different political party. So he switched. He was a lifelong hunter up until a point when he went into the Navy. Whole family, for generations back, hunted in the same mountains in northern Pennsylvania, north central Pennsylvania, hunting everything, fishing. Their lives were based upon that. My grandfather became a forest ranger so he could be out in the woods constantly. He tried farming a bit, but did not enjoy farming. My father, I don't think he ever questioned hunting because it was just too deeply installed in the fabric of his being until he came home from the Navy right after World War II. He was in the very tail end, 17 when he went in. Graduated early, took his high school equivalency test at the time. I don't know what it was. I went into the Navy. No questions asked because it's a time of national world emergency. So he came home from the Navy, didn't see heavy action, but he was on a minesweep in the South Pacific, which was a pretty dangerous place to be, most especially at the end of World War II when there was kamikaze missions. Japan knew that they were losing the war, that everything was finished for them, so they were planning a big, big air raids, suicide missions, to wipe out as much as they can. Um, so of course, my father, not seeing heavy action, but he was in quite a bit of danger. And when he came home from the war, he was, I told this story a few weeks ago. He was walking in the woods, he was hunting for whatever, which they did then. He saw a fox and he shot it. And he looked at it, and again, he asked himself a question. Why did I do that? He loved foxes, and he said so to himself. Why did I kill something that I loved? Why did I kill something that was so beautiful, that I've always found beautiful? And he put his rifle away and he never hunted again. Discouraged me from doing it, because he knew what it would do to me. But here's the thing, how many of us ask those questions? This is why my father, for many, many reasons, but a big reason why he meant so much to me, because he asked himself those questions. And he had me ask these questions. Is this what you really want? So here's Brian Katie's 4 questions again, because I realized I never got to the 4th one. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react when you believe it's true? This is where I interrupted, and I'm going to interrupt again. My father acted like a hunter. My father acted like the member of one particular political party. Last one. Finally got there. Who would you be without that thought? Well, my father, in his case, was someone who was more at peace with himself, was someone who didn't commit acts of violence against beautiful animals, was someone who had a little more political integrity, because he switched to the party that held his deep beliefs. I did similar things when I quit drinking. I did similar things when all kinds of positions in my life. Just asking myself, do I want to continue drinking any longer? And the answer was a resounding no. And I stopped. Never had a drink again. That was an important question. And you know what? I spent a decade drinking and I never asked myself that question. Never once. Now, I had a good reason to ask it at this time, as I was in a bit of trouble. However, it's the perfect time to ask that question, because they easily, and I know many people who did, get in trouble and then just continued on their way like it was nothing. It would have been easy, because I could have just fallen right back in to that circle of friends, the circle of bars, the cycle of going out, drinking, pretending like I was having fun. Easily could have done that. What led me to ask that question, I think, was the previous years of meditation and yoga ripening me, getting me ready. Ask that important question, do I want to continue drinking? It's not that easy for everyone. But it's a start. It's the epiphany. And Bill W. himself, founder of AA, believed the way to quit drinking, the way to live a life of sobriety, was to have that epiphany, whatever it is. That's another thing that I can't tell you. I can't tell you what your epiphany is. But I can tell you that if you ripen yourself, you'll have one. If you spend time meditating, if you spend time doing breath work, if you spend time opening up those energy channels, doing some yoga or doing some qigong or doing some tai chi, prepare yourself for a life of sobriety. Before you even take that step, before you even ask that question, lay the groundwork without the expectation that you're going to quit drinking. Just start doing one positive thing for yourself. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, hungover and everything, strung out and everything, 15 minutes earlier, and write in a journal. Keep a gratitude journal. Spend 5 minutes in the evening writing for the things that you were grateful for that day. and there's always something. And you might think, this was a pretty shitty day. But guess what? You were given an abundance of air in which to take a single breath over and over and over and over again. You didn't starve to death. You didn't collapse, dehydrated, unable to move. You're still standing. You're still thinking. You might be drunk, you might be hungover, you might be whatever, but you're still existing. And when existence is in place, everything is possible. Every damn thing is possible. And if one single person can do something, then it's still on the table. It's still in the books. It means that you can do it right now. Our friend Lewis is here. It is what it is. Good morning, Eric. Hope all is well, and I hope you have a great Christmas with your loved ones. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lewis, and I hope as well for you. You're ready for Christmas. You got your shopping done, and I hope you're on the mend, feeling better. We are fast approaching the Is What It Is comeback story of 2024. 2024 sounds like an auspicious year, like big things are going to happen. I think this is the year that we see the big comeback for Lewis, that he quickly turns into Mr. It's going to be like Clark Kent taking off his glasses. He quickly turns in to a fully recovered Mr. Five Pump, hitting the reps, cranking the good music, and inspiring others. This is what's going to make this year so big for you, Lewis, is, again, it's a comeback year. It's not just your traditional comeback of getting in shape. You're coming back from some pretty severe injuries that could have been even worse. So this is your chance to show people, hey, look at me. I'm out of shape and I hurt. And these reps aren't easy. They're never easy, but they're even harder now. And watch me do one rep at a time until once again I'm cranking out the 5 pumps. I'm looking forward to watching that. And you know what? You never know. Some guy on the Raiders might be watching YouTube and he clicks on this link for whatever reason and he sees a 30-pound heavier, it is what it is, trying to do 5 pumps, failing miserably, coming back the next day, coming back the day after, coming back the day after, and he says to himself, you know what? If he can do it, my team can do it, and in 2024, 2025, the Raiders become the Super Bowl champions of the world, and they owe it all to Is What It Is. And they call him up and invite him to the game, and they allow him to kick the winning game point. That's what's going to happen. You heard it here first. You heard it here from the Yogi doing burpees in his basement. You heard it on this channel. My prediction, my one and only prediction of 2024. The comeback story of the year, featured on ESPN Channel 97, is what it is. Lewis says that would be amazing, Eric. You know what? It is going to be amazing, your comeback. All humor aside, anytime anyone fights their way back to well-being is a big story. It's no easy thing, because you know what? Many people don't. You were gifted an opportunity. For whatever reason, what could have been this horrendous accident, and by all accounts, it was pretty bad, but it could have been life-threatening. It could have been burpee career ending, you know? But you were given this opportunity, and you're the type of person that doesn't waste an opportunity. So somebody's going to watch it, and you know the whole community, the whole burpee community, the whole burpee family is going to watch it, and they're all going to be inspired just a little bit more. And then they're going to do something inspiring. It's going to be that ripple effect. They see you do something like that, they see you do something big, and they think, I want to do something big too. And they do. and then someone else witnesses that, and someone else witnesses that, and it just continues onward. It makes me think, when I was walking with Mocha and Misty this morning, um, we were talking about holiday movies, and although originally It's a Wonderful Life was not a holiday movie, it was a little bit darker, it became a Hollywood or a holiday classic. And it is all about the difference that one person makes in the world without even realizing it, simply by being alive and being a good-hearted, kind person of integrity. So add that in, add the drive in, and who knows how far something like that goes. Lewis says it could have been very, very bad, and I'm thankful that I'm alive. Yep, and it's not, again, it's not a wasted opportunity. So I'm thankful you're alive as well. That's been basically the theme of what I've been talking about is, um, asking ourselves the important questions in our life. The important question, like in that situation, in Lewis's situation, why wasn't it worse? And you don't ask that in a sort of morose, gloomy way. But so I was given a gift that it wasn't that bad in comparison to what it could have been. That it was bad, but in comparison to what it could have been. So what can I do? What can I do to show my appreciation? What can I do that it wasn't a mistake? And which, of course, here's the funny thing is, someone might say, well, doing burpees, that doesn't seem huge. That doesn't seem like a big way to show your appreciation. You could, dedicate your life to whatever, or you know what I mean? But those people don't realize how big a single burpee is. And I don't mean that in how difficult it is. Of course, we all know that it is. But look at, two people from across the country having a conversation on YouTube live session with only one person talking. And I'm being kind to myself. I could have just as easily said blabbing away. But, two people from across the world who don't know each other face to face, but having a serious conversation because of burpees. It's not the thing that you do, it's what you give to that thing. It's what you invest in that thing that makes it everything in the world. One burpee is the most valuable thing in the world when you put your all into it, when you give it, and then you give it away, and you give it to other people, especially when you give it on YouTube and you're saying, hey, look what I'm doing so that you can do it as well. If one person is inspired, then you took that gift of surviving that accident and you gave it to somebody. What's better than that? It is what it is, says, yes, I agree. And, oh yeah, one burpee is huge. It is. Literally uses every part of the body. As well, you put your heart and soul in it, because you can't do a half-ass burpee because it looks like a half-ass burpee. And someone is going to call you out and say, what the was that? That wasn't a burpee. It was more maybe broken down into a burp and a whatever. But that's the big thing. Again, you can't, when you're given a gift and you go to repay it, you can't half-ass it. You got to give your all to it. And you know what? The gift of motion, the gift of breathing, the gift of being able to hit the ground and spring back up in celebration, that is no small gift. That's the gift of every single muscle. It's a gift of every single cell. It's the gift of your lungs, and it's the gift of the air that you get to draw that breath and spring back up. Big gift. So, once again, looking forward to it. I'm overcoming some issues myself. I think I slipped a disc or I hurt my back in 1990 squatting. And I don't think it ever fully recovered, although it would only trouble me a little bit from time to time if I did something that set it off kilter. And then I could quickly bring it back without missing a day, just with gently moving, stretching, doing my yoga, getting it back in line. But for whatever reason, it is not aligning the way it used to any longer. Um, I heard it maybe a month and a half ago, maybe close to 2 months ago, and I explained it before doing something stupid. I was trying to slide into my car with two cars parked super close next to me, where, and Mocha was saying, you got to go in the back, you're not going to be able to slip in there. And I said, you are underestimating my yogic skills, that I can contort myself in any position and squeeze in, even if I do one little joint at a time. I'm like fluid. I will fluidly flow into this little tiny crack, and you'll be surprised and impressed. And I took one little bump in, and my back spasmed, and it hasn't been the same. So much for my supreme yogic skills. If I could go back in time, I would probably do the same thing, except I would do without my yogic speech that I gave to Mocha, because it's no sense giving someone ammunition to hold over your head for the rest of your life. So I'm changing things around, doing my burpees a little differently. I'm not chasing numbers. I talked about the meditation, in yogic meditation, there is the three golden sutras, and I'll explain what they are in just a minute. It is what it is. Says, unfortunately, that's all it takes. A little wrong move. I have that issue as well. When my back goes out, it sucks. Yeah, it does. And like I said, normally I can, it's like a day, 2 days at most, and then and I don't even miss a workout. It's just uncomfortable for a day or two, and then it'll slip back into position, but it's just not working right now. It doesn't help that I deepened my yogic practice. I was doing 3 a day, holding some pretty intense back bends, holding some pretty intense postures, and it just made it worse. So now I'm trying to recover. The 3 golden sutras used in meditation that I'm applying to burpees is, I don't want anything, I don't do anything. Let's skip that. I want nothing, I do nothing. What was the last one? Sorry. I am nothing. And I explained it in my burpee video today. And we're not using that traditional view of nothing. So when I say I want nothing, it means that I want nothing from this set other than doing the set. I don't want a PR, I don't want great numbers, I don't want anything other than to be able to do burpees, to be able to be fit, to be able to move and be in motion. And when I say I do nothing, it means I'm not the one doing that. I'm not the one doing the motion. I'm being expressed as that motion. It's motion itself that's doing it. I'm taking my ego, my belief that I'm the one doing it, I'm taking that out of the equation. And then the last one, I am nothing, means that I'm taking away my story, that I'm not the previous 115 rep Navy SEAL rep guy. I am not the 250 rep 6 count guy. I'm just a guy, just a yogi doing burpees in his basement. I'm getting rid of all stories. And that allows me to do whatever number I need to do that day. That way I don't push past the point. And I'm also doing everything breathing through my nose, which limits how many reps you're going to get. But it doubles, I don't want to say doubles, it increases the effort. It's like training at altitude. It is what it is. Says, what do you think about the scorpion stretch? I think it's worthwhile if you can do it. And not everyone is capable of doing it. I think it can be an extreme posture, and I'm starting to move away, as I mentioned to Mocha, who is here, Mocha McCarty. I'm trying to move away from the extreme postures. One of the things that actually hurt me was the two postures, the locust, which I enjoy and I'm good at, but I think it helped slip that disc out of place, as well as triangle pose, which again I enjoy, but it didn't do me any favors. So Lewis said, hello, Mocha, and then quickly corrected himself, Mocha, which, you know what, good catch, because not everyone catches that and then takes the time to make that switch and be respectful. So that was a pretty insightful catch. I will actually be wrapping things up in just a minute. I'm gonna go. Speaking of yoga, I got a couple online classes that I'm doing that I'm in the midst of, and I'm gonna do my own meditation coming up soon. Mocha says autocorrect does that to my name. Yeah, I guess so. I never, you know what? I don't know why I never thought of that it would do that. I guess because when I think Mocha, I no longer think, if I ever did, coffee drink. Just, Mocha is you. I don't think of, I know people still do, because I hear people say, oh, I'd like to, I don't know. But that is the autocorrect story of Mocha and the coffee drink. All right, guys. That's a certain sign that I need to wrap things up for the day. It was actually a really good talk. I enjoyed the conversation that talking about my dad earlier and his own self-inquiry of asking himself who and why to making those, as well as my own story of quitting drinking, as well as talking burpees with It Is What It Is and his comeback. I don't think Mocha was here for any of the discussion that Lewis was in a four-wheeling accident going 65 miles an hour and took a bump, concussion, and hurt your hand and ribs as well. So now he is preparing for the big comeback in 2024, and that was a big focus of our conversation, which again is no small thing. And speaking of big stories of 2023, as we come to the end, before I say goodbye to everyone, the big story of 2023 is Mocha's successful first semester American Sign Language, on her way to getting her degree in American Sign Language. It is what it is, says broken ribs, small lung collapse. That sounds like the most serious of all, that as well as the concussion. Mocha believes that the big story of 2023 is duck butt photos, because she has taken several photos of duck butts, which which is actually a more interesting hobby than it sounds, um, and is actually uh, more beautiful than it sounds. Watching ducks in the pond as they duck down to catch something, and of course, when they duck down, the buck comes up. It's simple physics. It's simple duck physics. There's no way to escape the flipping of ducks. If you put the head down, the buck goes up. We should all be so grateful that it doesn't happen that way with us, that our own personal physics are slightly different than a duck. Because no one wants to see me bend down to pick up my car keys and have a fluffy duck butt come up. And then someone like Mocha say, I should take a photo of that. We should all be thankful we don't live in a world where that happens. Psychological physics, exactly. It's clear. Everyone should understand. As soon as they see the photos, which I should actually put one up on my thumbprint, a duck butt photo, so people know what we're talking about. So I thought that the earlier place in the conversation was the right moment to exit. And now I realize that the entire conversation was simply waiting to finish talking about the physics of duck butts. So now for sure the conversation is over. There is nothing left to say. We have completed the internet. It's over. So, Lewis, if I don't have a chance to talk to you between now and Christmas, Monday, have a good holiday. I know you'll be celebrating with your family. Take care. You guys have a lot to be thankful for this year. Mocha says, but yes, I passed my first semester. Not only passed, you passed with flying colors. Extremely well on some hard courses that you had no previous experience. Do it. And Mocha is now officially a member of ABBA. She got 2 A's and 2 B's. And that's a proud tradition to be part of. Swedish pop is, many people aspire, but very few are chosen. So now I know for sure that it's time to say goodbye. So I will see you all later. Thanks for joining. It was a fun talk. Take care, guys.